professor and new leader of the Parsons Textile program.
It's nice to say that I'm the new leader. I'm the new leader of a new program. We just launched a month ago, so I'm still standing and I'm happy to say I'm here. And I thank you all for having me and being patient with my non-sending of slides in time. I did everything that a good teacher would expect from her students wrong. No timely delivery, and I made all kinds of excuses. So anyway, I'm happy to be here and share with you just a little bit in terms of my experience with the luxury business and luxury market. I run a brand and a company that served luxury products. It usually meant having handmade goods. It meant having materials that were so expensive that lesser mortals could not afford it. Snob value was attached to the products. It also meant that I would attach a tag of something special to it that would make people want to own it. Renting steals the thunder from that, doesn't it? But what an awesome idea to sell the experience as opposed to the product itself. I also looked up the definition, but I didn't go to the Oxford Dictionary as my accent would say I would go there. I went to Merriam-Webster, which is American, right? So let's see, there were a whole bunch of words that sprung up, and I just took down a bunch of them. It says luxury is a state of abundance, and ironically, it also comes from something being scarce. So it's a weird contradiction. Something scarce becomes a luxurious item to have, right? And it makes you feel like you have an abundance, usually of money, to afford it. The other words that came up, a state of great comfort and extravagant living, indulgence, opulence, sumptuousness, I love that word, grandeur, magnificence, splendor, and strangely enough, superfluous. That kind of means you don't need it, but you want it. So then I looked at that and I said, if that's what luxury is, how is this supposed to be a good thing? And how am I going to speak about it being a force for good? But you know, I'm also a philosopher. I have this weird other hat that I wear. And I've studied a lot of Plato. Plato as in not in the stuff you play with Plato, but as in Socrates and Plato. And Plato actually says that everything we do, regardless of end result being good or bad, you do it for a good, to serve a purpose. So every object, every action serves a good. When we say things like, what is the good of that? We're asking, what is the purpose? What does it serve? So if you think about, regardless of the item, does it serve a purpose? Yes. Do luxury items serve a purpose? Yes. It has a good. Now, can we affect the impact of that good? Can we be responsible for the good? And can we responsibly do good with luxury and luxury items? How, what, why, where? I have a lot of pretty pictures on slides. This is just to keep you entertained while I say these serious things. These are some of the creations I did in the name of luxury. Beautiful quilts, printed, stitched. When they are done by hand, they fall into the luxury category. When they are done by machine, mass market, right? But it takes the designer, the person working behind the scenes, the same amount of effort to apply concept, color, marketing needs to create those designs, whether it's for luxury or for mass market. Now, in designing for luxury, can I then do a little bit more than what the machine people are going to be doing, which is consider the well-being of the artisans, the craftspeople, whether there's fair trade involved. Today, that seems to be a luxury, or is it? Can we afford not to be involved in luxury then? If it's a luxury to demand your products come from organically raised animals and organically raised plants, is that luxury? Or is that item means how you market it to a different group of people that will then consider it a luxury to purchase? Now, how can it be a force for good? You bring awareness. You bring, and I will return to this idea of social justice. What does that mean? When you are fair and when you have just relations between individuals and society. So can we do that with luxury? Absolutely. Right? Can we have a fair relationship between individuals and society? Can we have equal or equitable or just fair access to wealth and opportunity in the society? Can luxury do that? Of course it can. It's the ownership of luxury that sort of differentiates you, but then you're playing to the ego of an individual. Excellent marketing tool. Use it. But does it mean you have to do bad? I don't think so. I think you can still keep in mind issues of environment and social justice and the well-being of people, craftsmen, and others. These are not rugs that I designed for a really, really high-end company in New York City that sells rugs to people like Beyonce, right? And a rug can cost anywhere from $90,000 to $100,000 easily. Made from silk, hand-knotted in Nepal. And at one point, they decided to do an El Cheapo line that doesn't cost that much, less than $200 a square foot. That means, okay, $80 a square foot. What do you change? The process is still the same. The place that it's made is still the same. You change the material. So what we now use to make a cheapo rug would be rayon, viscose rayon, not silk, not the highest grade of wool. Those have environmental impacts. Rayon rugs won't last long, right? So a luxury product, as was mentioned, will last you potentially a lifetime. That's why rugs are expensive. So in your production phase, you have a choice. You have decisions to be made in terms of what are you going to pick? Material, environment, fair trade, or do I just want to make that buck? So this is just to give you things to think about. You can sell cheap products that may be considered luxurious, but one man's luxury could be another man's rag stuff, right? That's what we call vintage clothing now, right? It used to be somebody's cast away, and now for us it's special. So at what point do we stop thinking? And the answer is never. Just look for the good, look for what you're doing, and look for why you're doing. Ask the question. This is a rug that's made from indigo dyes. Craftsmen all over the world are now losing their jobs and livelihood. So can we revive crafts? Is that a luxury? I'm not sure, but they're sold as luxury products. So is luxury doing good? Absolutely, yes, right? And before I leave, I have to give a shout out to my team. This is the dream team of faculty who are teaching the textile MFA program here at Parsons. And we're asking all these questions. These are some of the conversations we had in our studio. What is high tech? What is the impact of it? What is low tech? Where does craft and technology intersect? And what good can we do with it? So I welcome you all to come and visit our studio. We're on the 7th floor. And we look forward to creating designers who are conscious, who, as was mentioned again earlier, will look to conscious consumption rather than conspicuous consumption. Thank you.
Again, that's the 7th floor, if anyone wants to go visit, just for another shout out. So last but definitely not least, we are going to hear from the Vice President of Global Talent at Christian Dior Couture, Erin.